What's up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking Parasyte the Grey. I had no clue what this was, not familiar with the anime, but I looked into it, and man, I can't wait to talk about this series. If you're here and you enjoy these Netflix reviews, stay tuned. Plenty more to come. We talk about streaming movies and TV shows, but let's talk about this one. A group of humans wage war against a rising evil of unidentified parasitic life forms that live off of human hosts and strive to grow their power. It's rated TV mature. That could just be the body horror that we see from when these creatures come to light and show themselves. They're taking faces and they're splitting them apart, and there's big tentacles that come. It's freaky.
What the heck?
And that big sequence we get in the first episode where it's the first time we see this happen, and it's just wrecking shop. People are trying to enjoy their nice afternoon. This is where my brain goes. I immediately thought The Thing and Alien and practical effects. I mean, I'm not entirely sure if a lot of it was practical, but a lot of it looked practical, and that's a testament to this show. Outstanding visual effects across the board. Of course, a lot of it was CGI, but man, it looked phenomenal. And this is actually based on an anime, but there's also been another live-action version, if I'm getting that right. Although this version of Parasyte the Grey is Korean, and there's a war going on in the background, and a lot of this series is spending time on the good side versus the bad, but also how gray the good side actually is. And so it's a very typical type of story that we've seen before, playing out in a somewhat familiar way. But our creator, Jung Soo In, who comes from Train to Busan, this sequel, Hellbound, and Jung Yi, there's a lot of experience there, whether it be translating, adapting, bringing something like this that is so outlandish to life, but at the same time, the concept is just so cool. It's like, how do you mess this up? Even though it is based off of what I perceive as a beloved anime, and it makes me want to go back and watch the anime because a lot of people say it's really entertaining. That opening episode, watching these spores fall out of the sky and just ever so lightly bounce off the ground, it's like, I bet what's in there is cute. Like the first Men in Black. Nope, not really. But as these humans get more infected and the more deadly this series gets, it slowly morphs into a sci-fi horror series just across the board where this war is waging, and for good reason. But anytime we see violence play out, it's in such an in-your-face type of way, but that kind of pays off as we're going and just provides so much fun, hopefully fun for fans and newcomers like myself. But here's one of the curveballs this show throws at us, is this mutant character who's like part alien creature, part not. Her life's kind of saved when this creature embeds itself into her brain, and it's almost this Hulk-type relationship to where sometimes she turns into it, and other times, oh, she seems normal. And then you have Team Grey and the Team Grey task force and protecting the Earth from these parasitic creatures who are just trying to eat human flesh. Okay.
It's over. We are screwed.
And this team is comprised of several members, and there are several characters in this show in general. One thing that Parasyte the Grey does a good job of is providing us the proper amount of flashbacks, maybe too many at times, but just to give us an idea as to why each character serves their role or serves significance to the story. And I thought it did a really nice job. At any time we get a side, good or evil, of a character, this show would just kind of dive into that backstory, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Getting to know these characters, not just surface level stuff, which sometimes you can get from these alien invasion type shows, so I enjoyed that. You have a character who's a pastor, and there's of course a big alien conspiracy going on in the real world and what's actually happening. You have a police detective who, again, walks that line, and that's one thing I'll say about this show is almost every character walks that line. It's called Parasyte the Grey, and it's so funny that that's the title, is because almost every character we're dealing with is a gray character. Morality, one side or the other. You don't usually just get one side of that coin, as someone's always towing that line, even the people that we care about the most. And I would say the most fascinating aspect of the story is I was more intrigued by the human element of it all, the humanity of this crazy, outlandish situation, than I was what the heck the aliens are actually doing here in the first place, because they don't do a great job of telling us exactly what they're doing here in the first place. Well, they try, and there's reasoning given, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of like they're here. What's their mission? We kind of know their mission. Did I fully buy their mission? Not necessarily. Is that the biggest deal in the world? No, because this show doesn't have to provide us that. But if I would have had more of an inkling as to what exactly their goal was in the first place, then maybe I would have cared about that side of the story more, rather than just giving us things that our characters have to fight and win. And that's cool. And the violence is great. And the action is fun. It doesn't always look perfect at times, but with a show like this, if you get it 70% of the time, that works for me. But again, the motivations and just a lot of things that the script could have done with that side of the story that I did not get in its entirety. And it moves at its own pace. It moves quick. I actually found this to be a pretty nice binge, but it definitely moves way too fast at times, to where we're skipping over characters and motivations. We're skipping over why this matters. And I think that's what I keep coming back to, is this show doesn't do a great job of telling us why this moment matters, why this character matters, what's the motivations behind these alien creatures. But the other side of the story that we do get, and the motivations and, the good and bad side of almost every character, that was really fun. And so I'm interested to see if the manga or the anime does this better than what the actual show handled. But what I've also heard, and this is where I'll end this review, is that this isn't a full remake of the anime, a full remake of the manga. They take the story and go in a bit of a different direction. And so when I read that, I'm like, okay, I guess it's not a full-on adaptation. I guess they're kind of doing their own thing here. So if you're familiar with both projects, I would love to know some of the differences between this and the original manga, this and the original anime, where they go with this story compared to the other one, and if the other one's worth my time or not. Because if I enjoyed this, I think I'll enjoy that. I'll say this, I'm happy that Yun Sang Ho is back on track, because a couple of these projects as of late I haven't loved. The sequel to Train to Busan Peninsula I wasn't the biggest fan of, but this one's fun. It doesn't have to do too much from the narrative side of things, but it's pure entertainment at points, and it provides us interesting characters. So before I give you my score, let me know your thoughts on this, the original source material, what you're watching on Netflix this weekend. I also just reviewed Ripley. That's on the channel. Parasyte the Grey provides dynamic characters, a somewhat complex look at morality, and some ridiculously entertaining sci-fi action sequences. While it doesn't always give each plot thread its time to shine, there are some fantastic visuals on display, and these parasitic aliens look awesome. I had fun with this. Thank you so much for watching this video, and like I said, we're always talking Netflix, so if you want to take that journey with me, subscribe. If you don't, there are probably better things to do with your time. All right, I'll see you soon in the next video.